And now,
it's 10 a.m.
Let's just get down to it.
And it's time for your sports fix.
Strap yourselves in, folks.
From two guys who have covered the teams you're passionate about for years.
We are professionals.
This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson on 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone. Jake Scott, Ben Anderson. Happy Thursday to everybody, however you may be listening. How's it going over there, Ben?
Doing well. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah.
Back-to-back nights, Jazz games. You survived?
I'm looking forward to my night off, yes.
Yeah.
I did survive, but I get to go to my daughter's soccer practice.
Okay.
So I'm pretty stoked about that. Get a stand on the side there and try not to yell at the coach.
How long is for practice?
No, I'm kidding. It's like 1 hour, but I haven't. I usually don't get to go. We've had Thursday games for like the last month or something
nice.
like that, and they're on Thursdays. So, yeah.
My daughter, she played baseball last year, and she's like, "Dad, I really want to play baseball again." I said, "Great, happy to have you." You know, she's 10 years old. Happy to get you in baseball once again this spring. She said, "I hate practice." I was the coach. What do you mean you hate practice? I was your coach. I tried to make it fun. I guess there's not a way to make practice fun. Maybe we just need to exclusively scrimmage.
No, practice, I mean, think about it. Practice at anything is annoying.
Yeah. I get it. She's on the right. She's on the right course. She's right. Practicing is not ideal.
My daughter does violin twice a week before school. And I mean, she's like bounding out of bed to go there because she loves it. But as soon as she gets home from school, and I was like, "Honey, why don't you break out the violin and do a little practice?"
Yeah, not a chance. Not happening.
You know, it's like the word. We don't even like the word. I don't even like saying it. When was the last thing you liked practicing?
Yeah, not a whole lot, if ever.
If ever.
Yeah.
If ever.
Yeah, we need to reframe it.
I mean, if Maddie came in here and said, "Ben, we need to up your words per minute typing by like 15."
Here's your test. Here's your practice test.
We need you to go practice, and you'd be outraged. You'd quit in protest.
Yes, I would.
I've seen people quit over less.
Way less.
Way less.
Stupider things.
You want me to what? Yeah. So I don't blame her. But it's also a lesson, right? You gotta do it, practice all
Put in
that
the work.
Stuff. Yeah. I almost made a bad transition that would have been a little mean.
Jazz could use some practice.
Yeah. You saw that, did you? Yeah, they did. You know what? We could talk about that boring game if you really want to. But honestly, I think it's a decent springboard into talking about Giannis, which is the biggest story in the NBA. And both teams last night should be considering, well, I'm sure both teams are making phone calls. I'm sure every team in the league is making phone calls. But, you know, both teams should at least be actively considering being in the Giannis market for different reasons. But I will say this. Golden State, of course, should be trying. If they're going to keep Steph, of course they should be trying to trade for Giannis. But have you seen the rumored compensation that is out there? So it's Kuminga, Jimmy Butler, and 4 firsts.
So it's 4 firsts.
4 firsts.
That's all it is.
Kuminga could be a guy. It could at least be decent. I mean, he's not like cut him tomorrow. And I gotta think let me put it this way. I gotta think there are teams out there, including the Jazz, that could far exceed that package.
Yes, absolutely.
I wouldn't even believe Milwaukee would pick up the phone for that. Jimmy Butler's poison contract.
Right. Now that
Jonathan
he's out with an ACL,
Kuminga.
and it's going to take his time coming back. If he's going to Milwaukee, Jimmy doesn't care.
If he were healthy, that contract would be poisoned. Yeah. Isn't it 3 more years?
Yeah, because I think he signed an extension.
He did.
Yeah.
He's all of a sudden the old maid. He's like the worst contract in the league.
Right. And you can get out of Jonathan Kuminga's contract after this year. I think he's got a team option. That was kind of a big conversation last season. But, yeah, it's...
But if Miles Bridges was worth what he was worth, and Rudy was worth what he was worth, the market for Giannis, I know it's different, and I know the rules changing has made the trade market different. But Giannis is a top 5 player in the league right
Still,
now.
and he's only 31 years old.
Yeah.
I know he's had injury problems, but he's going to be good for a long time as long as he doesn't have to medically retire.
I got to think that teams would be willing to give up a lot more, and that brings the conversation to the Jazz, and the Jazz absolutely should be making phone calls. You go from rebuilding to contending overnight if you make some sort of move. However, what move would be appropriate is a different story. You threw together a trade package yesterday that was like everybody but Keontae.
Yeah, yeah.
And it got me to thinking, which is the point of the show, would that be too much? And I came to the conclusion, yes, because you got to be careful trading. Okay, let me think of the ultimate lesson of this. Well, there's 2 that come to mind. More recently, Brooklyn just cashing in for like an up-and-coming team with an up-and-coming coach and pushing it all aside for Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, and James Harden. That's not just one player. That's 3 supposedly legends.
Sure.
And what did that do? Nothing but fail.
Yeah.
And fail miserably. And now look at tomorrow's opponent then.
Yeah, right. Worse than the Jazz.
Look at tomorrow's opponent rolling into town. So that's one example. The other one I can think of, and you'll remember, the Jazz took out Carmelo Anthony and the Nuggets in the playoffs, and Melo decided he couldn't, dare continue his career in Denver and demanded a trade. Now, do you remember where he was traded to?
Where do you go?
The Knicks.
That's right.
And the compensation package now, outside of Danilo Gallinari, I can't remember exactly what it was, Ben, but it was
rich.
Basically the whole team.
Yeah.
No, it was not. It was a ransom. Look it up.
But the players didn't end up being all that good.
Look at how much of the Knicks team went to Denver. It was like the whole team. It was way too much. And all of a sudden they're chasing this supposed star, and this is going to make the difference. But they gutted everything, And so it got me thinking, if you're going to trade a zillion picks, make it about picks. If you're going to gut the team, I don't know if that is worth it. Now, that's where the minutia of the conversation is, right? To find gutting the team.
Yeah.
I mean, any deal for Giannis would require Lowry for salary purposes, period. But what additionally would Milwaukee be wanting is an interesting question. And I don't know how eager I would be to even consider Ace Bailey.
I think that's totally fair.
So, and Keontae for that matter, but I don't know if it would be a deal breaker because we're talking about Giannis after all, but I don't know. Ace Bailey has a lot of value and potential in my opinion.
And he's a guaranteed top 5 pick who is looking like a player who's going to live up to that hype. That's the advantage. So if you're going to trade for Giannis, you essentially have to include Lowry just to make the money work for this deal. So if the Jazz were to look at Giannis, he has $54 million on his contract. You send out Lowry, who makes $46. You're about $10 million off. And there are a lot of ways to do that. Now, you could throw in Ace, who makes $9 million, and the salaries still match. It's not too much money. Where it gets interesting is you are probably asking Milwaukee to pick between a player like Ace Bailey or a series of draft picks. And you get to pick one or the other. And the Jazz, by the way, ran into this when they traded Rudy Gobert. They had to pick between Jaden McDaniels and draft picks. In fact, I don't even know if Minnesota gave the Jazz the option to take Jaden McDaniels. They wanted McDaniels, and Minnesota instead say, hey, how about another swap or young players and draft picks? So I think the Jazz would probably put one or the other on the table, which is you can have Ace Bailey or you can have the 2031 Phoenix Suns unprotected draft pick. Now, I'm just spitballing here, but I do think that's probably the type of negotiation you're having because obviously Giannis is a major upgrade over Lowry, as good as Lowry is. They need more on top of that. So you're sending out the Lakers pick next year that you own, which is top 4 protected, which, by the way, if you're watching the Lakers right now, they are not in great shape. They just got crushed by 30 to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Report out this morning that they're going to ask LeBron to take a huge pay cut, which essentially means they're telling LeBron to go away because I don't think LeBron's going to take a major pay cut to stay in LA. So you're starting a semi-rebuild next year with Luka Doncic in the Lakers. So that's a good pick. The Suns pick is one of the better picks on the market, period. And then you're getting an all-star who's just entering his prime in Lauri Markkanen. Like, that's a very good package. If you want a young player to build around, maybe you get Ace Bailey, but you probably don't get that 2030 draft pick, which is fine for the Jazz because the Jazz can then hold on to that 2030 draft pick and use it in a trade for another player to build around Giannis. You know, that's the thing. As much as Ace has a ton of value to this iteration of the Jazz, the second you get Giannis, I don't think you're betting on the future of Ace Bailey for 3 or 4 more years. You're betting on who can you bring in today to win a title because truthfully, I don't think Giannis is getting better, and you're trying to maximize him while he's as healthy as he's going to be. But if you hold on to Keontae and you still have Walker Kessler in this situation and you still have this year's first-round pick and you have the either Ace Bailey or the 2031 pick, that's a lot. I mean, that's a good basis to build a team that could potentially contend in the next 2 or 3 years.
Now, before I proceed with the conversation, this could all be meaningless because Giannis says there's not a snowball's chance that I will ever re-sign there, and so you would be foolish to trade for me. And at that point, they could either, just do it, which is exactly what Toronto and Oklahoma City did, and it worked out for both in different ways. But that is part of the convo before we move on. The next part of the conversation, in my opinion, is, all right, what teams have more resources than the Utah Jazz if it came to a bidding contest?
Yeah.
And the answer is Oklahoma City, but I don't think they want him.
Okay. I don't know if they would disrupt their entire system to get him, but I think they should.
Or pay for it.
Sure.
Because they've got enough, we got to pay these dudes that just won a title on our hands, then adding what is Giannis Supermax? He's got to be, right?
Yeah. He makes 54 this year, 58 next year, and then has a player option for 62, which he's not picking up because he'll get a raise.
Right. So, I mean, that makes their cap situation complicated. Plus, there's this, I mean, I don't like it, but it does need to be appreciated, this alpha dog thing in the NBA. Whose team is it? I find it foolish, but players do not, and it is a thing.
Yeah.
And bringing in Giannis disrupts that on any team. Now, who does it disrupt it positively for, and who does it disrupt it negatively for, I think is relevant. And I don't think San Antonio, we can decide whether it would be good or not, but I don't think Wemby wants to bring in another dude.
Alpha dog, yeah.
He's the dude. He's the star of San Antonio, who's currently in second place in the West.
Correct. They're doing fine.
So I don't know if San Antonio's doing that. I mean, who else then out there has the resources to outbid the Jazz? Pretty much no one.
Houston has some good young pieces, good role players, and they still have some draft capital. Brooklyn has a ton of young players and draft capital. And they could trade like Michael Porter Jr. back, who's a very similar player to Lauri Markkanen. I know we think of him differently, but he's been incredible this year in Brooklyn. So as far as assets go, picks, young players, and established talent, Brooklyn certainly, I think, belongs in that conversation as well.
But now on the disrupting the dynamic for the positive or the negative, and I hate to say this, and I'm sure you're going to love this take, but the perfect place for him to go is the Knicks. Mm-hmm. Because they need their dynamic disrupted big time.
Yeah,
they need to get the ball out of Jalen Brunson's hands, and Giannis does just that. You go in, Giannis can go into that team, and there's not anyone in that locker room who's going to get stepped on, other than the guy who probably needs to be stepped on for the betterment of the team.
Right.
I think a deal to the Knicks makes them unbelievably better overnight.
Yeah.
In fact, if you can include Jalen Brunson in the trade, all the better.
It would be Cat.
It would be. I mean, but see, what does Milwaukee want? Why on earth would Milwaukee want Cat?
I'm totally with you. They shouldn't want him.
They wouldn't want him. And to be honest, Milwaukee probably doesn't really want Lowry either. But then again, I don't think Milwaukee maybe is the smartest franchise ever. And you have to include somebody to make the salary work.
Yeah.
But honestly, if you're Milwaukee and you're back, I mean, let's go back to do you remember DJ's metaphor for the Jazz when they traded Donovan and Rudy, where it's like back the car out of the cul-de-sac? The Jazz are at the end of the cul-de-sac, and now they need to back the car out of the cul-de-sac. If Milwaukee's going to if Milwaukee trades Giannis, that's what you're doing. So why would you want a middle-aged player even though he may be an all-star? It doesn't make sense, right? we talk, and I'm including everybody, about windows ad nauseum. Does he fit in the window? And then we just totally forget about windows when we're having these discussions. Like, oh, why wouldn't Milwaukee want Karl Anthony Towns?
Yeah.
Well, because he doesn't fit in the window.
Right. No, I'm totally with you. It's why, again, if you were the Jazz, I think you can make them one of the most compelling offers, if not truly, I mean, other than the Thunder and maybe the Spurs, the most compelling offer in the NBA. I'm not kidding, because depending on what they want to do in Milwaukee, they can start day one, whatever their pathway is. Are they backing out of the cul-de-sac, or are they hitting the freeway? You have Lauri Markkanen and Ace Bailey, and you get another draft pick or whatever. I mean, there's going to be a draft pick involved, even if you throw Ace Bailey in. You could make that trade. Plus, Milwaukee's going to tank this year. They're going to get their own draft pick, which is going to be top 10. That's a pretty good base. I mean, that's not dissimilar to what the Jazz have right now, and we feel like the Jazz are a summer away from starting to compete. That's exactly where Milwaukee would be, plus, getting some draft capital back. Their problem is they traded all their draft capital in recent years to get Damian Lillard or to get Drew Holiday, and they're really going to be tied up that way. But they have this year's pick, and then they would probably get maybe this year's pick from the Jazz and move forward in that direction. And that's not a bad one either. And you know what? That would be a part of the negotiation as well for the Jazz. Maybe it's not the 2031 Suns pick, or maybe it's not Ace Bailey. Maybe it's just this year's pick, unprotected. Jazz have already done all the hard work of tanking. You get 2 shots at a number 1 overall pick in this year's draft. That's a really valuable deal. And then the Jazz say, yeah, we gave up Lowry 1 tanking year for Giannis. I totally get that from the Jazz's perspective. You would have to know that he would have interest in re-signing. You'd have to really convince him. I don't think you would feel all that safe in it, and you certainly, I don't think, would take his word for it, especially for that much in a package. But it's the Jazz can make an offer. This is what the Jazz have been keeping their gunpowder dry for, specifically for this type of offer. It's also a reminder of how insane it is that the Mavericks last year traded Luka Doncic without shopping him around, without looking around, because that trade seemingly gets worse every day. Because every day Anthony Davis has picked up another injury. Max Christie's not turned into a real player. Who cares? But the fact that they're not even close to competing after trading their superstar is the danger of trading a guy like Giannis or Luka, but why you have to open up the market. And when the market is competing against one another, you can get an absolutely loaded package on the way back.
Here's my gossipy take of the day.
Okay.
And then we can, move on to top 3 stories coming up right around the corner. I talked to somebody, and this is a little while ago, but that absolutely would raise your eyebrow for having this opinion, that believes that the Luka trade / Cooper Flag lottery was related.
Yeah.
And when I heard this take from this person, I was going, oh, really?
From you. Because certainly that's been out there.
No, it is. And I believe that the NBA lottery is rigged for years. I've had entire shows about it.
I do not, but yes.
No, new owner in New Orleans.
Sure, absolutely.
And they trade Anthony Davis and they're rewarded. It's actually twice it's been super convenient for New Orleans.
Right.
To get the number 1 pick. The one that got them Anthony Davis was the new ownership that bought the franchise from Ben. Do you remember?
The NBA.
The NBA.
Yeah. LeBron leaving Cleveland and then getting back-to-back number 1 overall picks.
Absolutely. I mean, there are so many examples out there, but anyway, that's my salacious gossip take of the day. All right. Jake and Ben will continue to talk about this and more throughout the show. We've got top 3 stories of the day at KSLSports.com coming up next. Stay tuned. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
It's time to break down the biggest stories of the day. This is the top 3 stories of the day on KSLSports.com. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Time for the top 3 stories of the day at KSLSports.com. Brought to you by J. Brooks Jewelers. Cherish your love with J. Brooks Jewelers. Explore their expertly crafted engagement rings made from the finest materials. J. Brooks Jewelers. All right, Christian, where do you want to start today?
Number 1, the Utah Jazz dropped their 4th in a row last night to the Golden State Warriors.
The game looked close. The final score said it was, 14 points?
16.
16 points. But it didn't feel close at all. It was a pretty non-competitive game from the opening jump, which was surprising to me because you had Yusuf Nurkic, Svi Mikhailiuk, Lauri Markkanen, and Keontae George in the starting lineup, which traditionally has allowed the Jazz to be competitive. They win a lot of those games, actually. I bet their winning percentage with that unit in the starting lineup is probably close to 500, in all honesty. Maybe I'm being overly ambitious with that, but I bet it's way better than people would think. And they didn't have it last night. Some of it's Lowry's coming back from his illness and clearly just still does not look like himself. But I also wonder, and I tweeted this out yesterday, I wonder if we are starting to see good teams, not that Golden State's a great team by any means, but teams that are actually competing for the playoffs starting to take the season more seriously and no longer letting a team like the Jazz hang around.
Yeah, the Jazz certainly had a stinker on the second night of a back-to-back. They played like a tired team that isn't all that motivated. Because I mean, if you want to talk about teams trying to make a playoff push or whatever, to dig deep and play on tight turnarounds and second nights of back-to-back, I mean, it takes some effort that obviously the Jazz were not willing to put in last night. Did you see Nurkic's plus-minus? By the way, RIP to the triple-double streak. It came to an end at 3.
No, I did not look at his plus-minus.
Minus 30.
Again.
In 23 minutes.
He was minus 30, I think his last triple-double as well.
And he's particularly ill-suited to play against the Warriors because of how they play.
Yeah, the Jazz played Lowry a lot at the center last night to match up with the Warriors' small ball lineup.
So, yeah, that wasn't going to be Nurk's game no matter what. But Lowry still looks
rusty.
Well, I don't know. What do you want to put? I think he's getting over consumption or something because, like, it did a number on him. I was talking to Batty about this. Like, you could tell he looks like he maybe lost a little weight.
Yeah, 6 of 14, 1 of 6 from 3. He's just not had his touch at all in the last couple of games.
He even bricks too. I mean, I don't know. It has to do with that somehow. The Jazz played well at the close of the third quarter. To say it wasn't a competitive game, it was at the end of the third quarter, and then the Warriors, in typical Warriors fashion, just
blew it back up to 20.
Put the lid on it at the beginning of the fourth, and then it was over. But you saw a couple good things from Keontae. I thought during that stretch, Ace had another strong game. I mean, there are things to take from the game.
Bryce had a good game. Yeah, Bryce is playing well.
All right, what's next?
Ben, you mentioned this in the first segment. The Lakers apparently want LeBron to take a pay cut.
Well, they're going to be pretty tapped out because Luka's already making his money, and Austin Reeves is going to likely re-sign with the Lakers this offseason, and he's going to get a max contract. That, with the other deals they already have, is going to put them in a spot where they simply can't afford to pay LeBron $52 million anymore. So they are going to say, LeBron, we've got a minimum offer for you, maybe the mid-level exception or something in that range. But honestly, I don't know how much they're going to have to pay him. Or sayonara, enjoy Cleveland, Miami, whatever, New York.
I'm trying to make sense of this report, Ben, because I don't think it makes a ton of sense. But let me throw this at you, all right? Because, well, let me put it this way. The Lakers have told LeBron to leave, like, as soon as they didn't give him his extension. They said, we're ending this relationship, essentially. So what is this all about? I'm trying to figure it out. Is it LeBron wish-casting a big contract into existence?
You think LeBron...
Like LeBron is worth the money. This report is LeBron is worth the money. The Lakers are just not willing to pay it.
Sure. Where's this news coming from?
Yeah, that angle, like what is, because Windy, the windbag who reported this is usually LeBron's guy, right? So what is kind of the purpose of this report? Like, what's the point with the Lakers? Another signal of we want you to leave? I mean, I think they've pretty much made that clear.
I think that might be what it is. Is to start laying the groundwork for why LeBron left. Not because we don't love you, but because we can't afford you.
Yeah, I wonder. But LeBron is is kind of a vet minimum guy. I mean, he's not worth $50 million anymore. Not to the Lakers, not to any team.
He is from a ticket sales standpoint. And that is something that has to be taken into account. People pay attention to LeBron.
You know who should not care about that? An NBA GM.
The Luka-led Los Angeles Lakers.
No, in all honesty, like, should Austin Ainge be considering ticket sales in his basketball moves?
No.
I hope not.
No. But owners do. And the GMs do work for the owner.
Well, give LeBron a bad contract? I don't know. I just wonder what the point of this report is, because I don't think, I mean, LeBron's, he's just not worth that anymore. What is he? He's a rotation guy now.
Lakers have a relatively clean cap sheet next year because LeBron comes off the books, because Rui Hachimura comes off the books, Gabe Vincent, Maxi Kleber, Jackson Hayes. They've got, and if you include LeBron, they've got close to $100 million coming off the books, in all honesty. It's crazy how much money they're going to shave. But Austin Reeves is going to bump up to $40 million. That takes a big chunk out of it. And the problem is when you lose all those players, you do have to replace them.
Yeah.
You only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players on the roster next year, if that many. I mean, you've got to go and sign 10 more guys to fill out your roster, 8 more guys.
We had the Cavs Lakers up in the radio command center last night. I don't know if you watched any of that game. If you did you see how LeBron time went in the basically the fourth quarter when
they were getting blown out
when Luka was out? Disaster.
Yeah.
I mean, he was responsible for 3 bricks and 3 turnovers in the span of 2 minutes. He's not LeBron anymore. He's not.
Well, LeBron should do what he usually does, which is convince the Lakers to trade all their best pieces to Cleveland and then sign with Cleveland in the offseason.
Yeah, that's what you do. All right, what's next?
Number 3, the Utah Mammoth wrapping up their East Coast road trip. They're at the Canes tonight. Canes wearing the Whalers jerseys, by the way.
Yeah, very cool. Going to be a throwback jersey night. The Mammoth don't have a throwback jersey yet, but I suspect they will introduce an alternative at some point. But the gear sells. Certainly see a lot of Mammoth gear around town.
Oh yeah, tons.
So we'll see. That's going to be a cool matchup tonight. The Whalers is one of the great logos of all time, and an opportunity to get a huge win for the Mammoth and come back with 6 points on this 4-game road trip would be absolutely incredible.
Speaking of that, we'll talk to Nick Olczyk about it coming up next. Stay tuned. Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Who's got it better than us?
Your home for the best sports coverage in Utah. You're listening to Jake Scott and Ben Anderson on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Time to talk some Mammoth hockey with our buddy Nick Olczyk. What's going on, Nick?
Jake and Ben, what's up, boys? Hello from Raleigh, North Carolina. A big chance for the Mammoth here tonight to make it a pretty darn remarkable trip if they can find a way to get 3 wins out of 4 games.
Yeah, already been a good trip. Certainly that win in Florida on the second night of a back-to-back I thought was
huge.
Maybe the most impressive win of the season so far from the team. But I imagine the spirits have to be really high around the team right now.
Yeah, they do. Just headed back to the hotel here after morning skate. A typically spirited skate for this group that loves each other on and off the ice, and it certainly shows. And you're coming off of an impressive win, as you had mentioned. I would certainly co-sign that and put that as one of the better wins of the year, especially considering the fact that in the first game of that back-to-back in Tampa, with the amount of chances they generate, they very well could have won that game. And then that's the craziest part about it. And then you come to play the second game against the Stanley Cup champions. And sort of for some that would call that a scheduled loss. But credit to the Mammoth, they found a way to play a heck of a game. They really didn't give the Panthers a whole heck of a lot after the 2 goals that they had scored. And give them credit. They came through with big goals at key moments. And how about Vitek Vanacek? What a performance from the backup goaltender. And, oh, by the way, you did all of that without your leading goal scorer, Dylan Gunther, still without your number 1 center, and some guys banged up on the back end. That's a big-time win for that group.
So as somebody who's there, Nick, and take this wherever you want to go, but what is the vibe around the club like?
Well, there's a real confidence, but not an overconfidence in the group right now. There's still a lot of hockey left to play. I think when you look at the standings, they've got a 3-point lead in the first wild card position, but there are a couple of teams breathing down their necks. San Jose in the second spot right now. They've got 57 points. The Kings and the Seattle Kraken on the outside looking in right now, they both have 57 points. But when you look at the standings, too, the most important kind of win is a regulation win, because that's the first playoff tiebreaker after the seeding is determined by points percentage. And so, with where this team is at, there's confidence in the group. And their decision-making with the puck, I think, has been as big of a reason as any why they've had a ton of success here. But I think the thing is in a hockey season, if you get focused on the end result, you lose focus on the day-to-day. You lose focus on what you have to do that day to make sure that you get the most out of practice, that you're preparing your mind and your body at the morning skate and making sure that you're ready to go. Because if you're not 100% ready to go, this day and age, it's going to be very hard to win games consistently. So I just think that the focus, the mindset, the mentality, the attitude of these guys right now is very much in the present. I don't sense any overconfidence. They very well know where they're at. They know what the expectations are. But as they try to accomplish those as we do march towards the playoffs, I think these guys are in a terrific spot.
All right, Nick, we saw a goal that I had not seen before. I don't know if there had been one in Mammoth history. This was against the Predators to start this trip. With an empty net, J.J. Peterka was tripped on a breakaway, and they awarded the goal. I don't think I'd seen that before, and honestly, as I'm still learning hockey, I didn't realize that they would just award a goal if the puck doesn't go in the net. Yeah,
and if you are fouled or if there's a penalty taken, and that's to deter players from taking penalties on guys that are going for an empty net shot because it could get dangerous. If you trip a guy and he's going at full speed to try to put a puck into an open net, he could end up going crashing into the boards. So it is as much of a safety thing as it is something that will be rightfully rewarded because, the net's open. And if you slash a guy on the hand and otherwise he would have been able to put it into the open net, you're going to reward him a goal. But that's why if you're trying to avoid that, do what Nick Schmaltz did in the last home game against the Philadelphia Flyers. Remember when Garnet Hathaway had an open look at the net and Nick Schmaltz didn't slash his stick from top down. He came from underneath, swiped it, and then obviously we know, in my opinion, which that led to one of the most, if not the most dramatic comeback and best game in franchise history. So, for our newer fans, our newer listeners, if a player has a clear shot at an empty netter, and he's tripped or slashed or hauled down from behind, it's going to be an automatic goal awarded.
So, Nick, after the road game tonight, the Mammoth come back home for 6 in a row. At what point is it acceptable to change the conversation from if this team is going to make the playoffs to things like positioning and home ice?
Well, I think you could start looking at the positioning right now, and it kind of goes into our talk about regulation wins, and they've got 21 of those. You look at some of the teams around them, they don't have nearly as many of those. I think the next closest is the LA Kings. So, I think for this group right now, it's continuing to stay within the day-to-day, but I just get in, right? Like you could sit there, and I think if you're a Colorado or if you're a Dallas, teams that are very much in their Stanley Cup window, whereas the Mammoth are hoping to be there one day and are very much on track to being one of those teams in a couple of years. You can't worry about, if we get into the third spot, we're taking on this team. And if we get the second wild card, the first wild card, the great thing about the National Hockey League playoffs is that just get in and you never know what can happen. Your goalie could catch fire. A couple of players on your team could find some hot stretches, and that could end up leading you to the promised land, because there have been stories of teams that go on to either win a cup or have a deep run from teams that do make it from a wild card spot or even the last team to make it in. So, with how consistent they've played, the fact that they have remained in the moment and they haven't gotten too far ahead of themselves, I think that's a very positive part of the attitude of this group right now. But we are certainly getting to that point where us as broadcasters and us as fans and us as lovers of the game, it is very much the time right now to start seeing, okay, how would this shake out if this was the matchup and where this team is going to want to be. But there is no question and there is no argument that this whole playoff run is going to go right down to the end, which is why a win tonight, a big 2 points here in Raleigh tonight, is going to go a long way in the Mammoth, not only trying to chase the teams in their division, but trying to create some standing separation between themselves and the teams that are below.
Nick, because they've only been here now for, 18 months, I guess, coming up on, a year, not even that long, a year, the Mammoth have been in Utah, 2 years, excuse me. We don't really have a sense of how long it's been since, then Arizona Coyotes, this organization has had postseason success. We're seeing the postseason. Well, we get a sense of what it might mean to our community. What do you think it would mean internally to the Andre Tyrannies, the Bill Armstrong, even somebody like Matt McConnell, who's been, broadcasting games? What would it mean to them?
Well, I'd love to hear Matty McConnell call a playoff game. I mean, I don't know about you guys. I mean, he has had some unbelievably memorable calls this season that will live in Utah Mammoth history. But I think it's going to mean when this team makes the playoffs, it's going to mean everything to the city of Salt Lake City and to the state of Utah and to Mammoth fans all over the world. I've had Mammoth fans reach out to me from New Zealand. Like, they're watching games that's a day ahead, and they're watching games when we're playing and broadcasting the game. And, like, it would do so much to make the playoffs. And if Mammoth Nation loves coming to the Delta Center for regular season games, and they love the atmosphere there, which how could you not? It's that on steroids come the playoff time. You get the rally towels every single game, every play, every goal, every save, every check means that much more when the rink shrinks come playoff time. So, for this team, they've got plenty of experience, especially on the back end when you think about guys that have won cups, that have been around. Sergachev, Cole, Nate Schmidt, those are a couple of guys that come to mind. And it's this time of the year where you got to lean on those guys. You got to rely on them to try to help to get you to the promised land. But it would be an unbelievable accomplishment for this team to make the playoffs, especially considering that was the expectation coming into this year, and it is not out of the realm at all. And there should be a lot of excitement around this group, because not only should and hopefully will make the playoffs this season, but they have been set up by General Manager Bill Armstrong and his staff to be a competitive team for the next decade, considering some of the great pieces they have, whether it's Clayton Keller or Karel Vejmelka, Dylan Gunther, Logan Cooley, so on and so forth. The present is bright, and you better grab a pair of sunglasses, because the future is even brighter.
Utah Mammoth broadcaster and big-time celebrity in New Zealand, Nick Olczyk, with us here on Jake and Ben. Nick, thank you.
Thanks, Nick.
Appreciate it. Enjoy the game.
You guys are the best. I appreciate you guys having me on always, and looking forward to our chat next week. Let's go get 2 points tonight in Raleigh.
Thanks, Nick. Appreciate you. Man, that guy's not buying lunch for himself when he goes down there.
To New Zealand?
Yeah. He goes down for the Lord of the Rings tour or whatever. He's getting...
Yeah. VIP treatment.
You can't walk into a, pub, whatever they call it down there, without somebody being like, let me get you some fish and chips there, Nick.
Your money's no good here, Nick.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
Let's get you fed.
Nick's a man of the people. Hockey lifer. So I'm sure, yeah, he's well known around the globe.
Getting shout-outs from New Zealand, Ben.
Yes, he is.
They're watching it today.
Yeah, they've probably already seen tonight's game.
It's over.
They know what happened already.
Really, really savvy gamblers.
They always hit.
Always hit.
Yeah, it's the secret.
Your gambling friend from New Zealand, they know.
He does great.
He kills it every time. It's like he's Biff Tannen from Back to the Future,
Yep.
too. Christian, Back to the Future was a trilogy of movies in the 80s and, early 90s, Ben? Starring Michael J. Fox.
Michael J. Fox, yeah.
Who's that?
And there were...
Christopher Lloyd.
Christopher Lloyd, but the girlfriend was played by two actresses.
And the mom was played by...
Leah Thompson.
Yeah.
Just catching you up. All right, stay tuned. We'll get to more coming up next. Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.